Welcome to the 2018 Hugo Award ceremony, underwritten in part by a generous grant from Google, our galactic sponsor. And now, live from the grand ballroom of the San Jose McEnery Convention Center in San Jose, California, greetings and welcome to the 2018 Hugo Award ceremony. Before we begin, a few reminders. Please silence all of your electronic devices. Please make sure that the flash on your camera is turned off. At the end of the evening, there will be opportunities for photos with the winners. Smoking is not allowed in the auditorium. This includes e-cigarettes. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit. It may be behind you. Please do not applaud individual finalists. Please hold all of your applause until all finalists in the category are announced. Thank you, and welcome to the 2018 Hugo Award ceremony. Please put your hands together and welcome your Master of Ceremonies, Worldcon 76 Artist Guest of Honor and Hugo Award winner, John Picasso.
You ready? You ready? All right, Worldcon 76. We waited for this for a while. It's been a long road, as I said at opening ceremonies, but now we're here. A lot of people put a lot of hard work into this. A lot of people have asked, what is my thematic concept for the night? What kind of skits am I going to do? What kind of funny, ha-ha, comedy, memorable stuff, man on the street? No, and no. And really, honestly, I guess the two words to remember for tonight are freight train. We're just going to move this thing right through and ram it right down. Because I've been lucky enough to be a part of this thing for a number of years. And, my first Worldcon where people really embraced me was right here in this city 16 years ago. I still remember drinking in the pit. We called it the pit there in the Fairmont, San Jose. And ordering 14 rounds of beers and wine and whiskeys and single malts right at 1:59, right as they're going to close for last call. A lot of great memories. But here we are, and I really want to remember that guy who was sitting in that seat in Glasgow in 2005 with his first Hugo nomination, who was just like, can we just get this over so I can go drink? I remember that guy vividly. And I've been in that chair where a lot of you are as nominees and first-time finalists as well. And it's nerve-wracking. And when you're sitting there for 3 hours, good God. So this may be the longest you're going to hear me talk tonight, all right? So hope you enjoyed it, because that's about it. Because I want to keep this thing moving. So you guys going to be okay with that? Is that all right? All right. I want you guys to put your hands together, because our base this year was designed by two incredible artists, and we got a little special presentation for you before we just start this thing flowing. So our base this year was designed by Texas artists. There you go. There's my people. Don't hold it against me now. Come on. There are some good places in Texas, even though some of it's a little bit shaky at the moment. But put your hands together for Texas artists Sarah Felix and Vincent Villafranca.
Hello, everybody. We're extremely excited to be here. And Sarah and I are both California natives. We just happen to live in Texas right now. So our hearts, of course, are always in California. And designing the Hugo base was such a joy for us. And we wanted to honor the astronomical heritage of the great state of California. And we were going to come up here and talk about the process of making the base, but I have a really bad track record of confusing people and just getting tongue twisted and everything else. So we thought we'd do a video to show you exactly how the bases came into being. So I believe they're going to play that here in a little bit. We had a really good time making the movie, and that's, of course, Sarah looks wonderful. That's Randy Shepard and myself in the red suits. And I was actually going to wear the red suit tonight to the ceremony, but it's awfully itchy. I mean, it's like seriously itchy. So. But I just wanted to say a few thanks real quick. John Davis, the guy that made the movie, he was nice enough to put my name on the credits, but it was really him. And he's a true sweetheart. He loves science fiction a lot. And he's in Burbank working on an actual film. And I just want a serious thanks to go out to him. Just being, he's just awesome. And that's John Davis. He made Jimmy Neutron. He's a great human being. And real quick, I just want to thank fandom in general and my springboard into fandom, I'm just going to mention this real quick, was Armadillo Con in Austin, Texas. And in 2004, they welcomed me with open arms. John Picasso, Sarah, Laura Domitz, she's here, Scott Zrubeck, Karen. They're so lovely, and now they can't get rid of me, so. And then one last thanks. There was an anonymous volunteer here at the convention that attached the rockets to the bases. I don't know who you are, but please reveal yourself to me so I can buy you a beer or maybe even two, because you really made my life easy, so thank you. Who is it?
Right here.
Oh. Yeah, you're awesome. You're awesome. So thank you and have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Please welcome back your MC for the evening, John Picasso.
Imagine that. No, I told you they were great. All right, let's get this thing going, all right? We're here this evening because of a history of fans running Worldcon since 1939. The fans are so important that there are categories to recognize their efforts. And the first Hugo to be awarded tonight is in the category of Best Fan Artist. Tonight we honor 6 creators whose work has appeared in fanzines, semi-pro-zines, or via other public, non-professional displays. The finalists are Geneva Benton, Grace P. Fong, Maya Hatto, Likane M. Sereno, Spring Schoenhuth, and Steve Stiles. Look at that. I like it. I'm going to tell you right now, you guys flowing with this pattern here of just doing that, catching that beat, catching that breath, and waiting to the end, you're just going to get faster to the whiskeys. It's perfect. I'm telling you, you're going to be really happy by the end of this thing. You ready? The 2018 Hugo for Best Fan Artist winner, the winner is Geneva Benton.
Accepting on behalf of Geneva.
I promise you there are winners in the audience. Unfortunately, Geneva Benton could not be here this evening. The Society gives our congratulations, and we will see the award get started. Thank you.
Keep that up, it's really going to move fast. Woo. All right. To present the Best Fan Writer Award is the 2018 recipient for the first Fandom Award. You know him better as Bob Silverberg.
You may be wondering what a grizzled old pro like me is doing, giving out the Best Fan Writer Award. Well, I was a fan once. Really, I published a fanzine. I had a mimeograph machine. You don't know what a mimeograph machine is. You can Google for it. It'll be there. It was a messy thing. You turned the handle and pages came out. I published a fanzine. I wanted to be a science fiction writer after I was a fan, and guess what happened? But also, what qualifies me for this award, I'm a winner of the Best Fan Writer Award. Now, I didn't win it while I was a fan, because I buzzed through fandom between 1949 and 1955 or so, and there were a lot of better fan writers than I then. But I won a retro award. It was very silly. The other nominees for the Best Fan Writer of 1950, when I was a 15-year-old fan, Walt Willis, Bob Tucker, Lee Hoffman, these names mean nothing to you. And because they meant nothing to you, I won the award. So on Retro Hugo night, I came up and I said, I don't deserve this. They should have won. I was just a 15-year-old kid doing fan stuff, and they were better than I, but I'll take it. And I have some other Hugos that were perhaps more deserved. And I have that Hugo on my shelf with the rest of them. It looks just like a Hugo. When I look at it, I think, that's a Hugo. So I'm, in somewhat sideways manner, qualified to be giving out this award, and I will proceed to do so. I usually, of course, delay the process of giving out the award. But in the absence of my partner, Connie Willis, who helps me in the filibustering, I can't really extend the process. Connie had some back surgery recently, and so she didn't come. Neither did her husband, Courtney, nor her daughter, Cordelia. And so I alone am left to stall the proceedings. The finalists are Kemestros Philapton, Sarah Gailey, Foz Meadows, Charles Pezur, Mike Glyer, and Bogi Takash. And the winner, oh, the big moment, Sarah Gailey. Sarah Gailey coming up, looking astonished, hands over her face. If you cry up here, I will not give you the award. You're a Hugo winner. Say something.
Okay, all right. Yep, yeah.
It's heavy.
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Whew. Okay. This past year of my life has been incredibly difficult on a personal level, but because of this community, it's been the best year of my life. I want to thank the people who have challenged me, who have told me that I was wrong 100 times at great personal cost to themselves, have made the effort to make me a better member of this community. I also would love to thank Dongwon Song, my agent, who has made everything I've ever done possible. All of my editors, many of whom are in this room. And more than anything, the science fiction and fantasy community that has welcomed me and made me a better person, a better writer, and brought me up here tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
think Sarah's a first timer because you take this envelope with you, Sarah. I'll keep it for you. Take these things, but I got you. I got you. All right. Keep this thing moving on here. To present the Best Fanzine Award of the 2018 Transatlantic Fan Fund and Down Under Fan Fund recipients, please welcome Johan Engelmark and Marley Jane Ward.
Hello. I'm Johan Engelmark. I'm this year's winner of the Transatlantic Fan Fund. The fund, known as TAF, is a yearly fundraiser to bring a deserving fan across the Atlantic to participate in a Worldcon. And I would like to say thank you to all the fans that still care about the Transatlantic Fan Fund and keep it alive. And thank you to this Worldcon for hosting me so generously.
Hello, I'm Marley Jane Ward. I'm this year's winner of the Down Under Fan Fund. The fund, known as DUF, is a yearly fundraiser to bring a deserving fan across the Pacific to participate in Worldcon. I just want to thank everybody who made it possible for me to be here and for everyone who's been so welcoming. So thank you.
The Best Fanzine is a non-professional publication that produces a minimum of 4 issues, at least one of which was published in 2017. The finalists are Galactic Journey, edited by Gideon Marcus.
File 770, edited by Mike Glyer.
Journey Planet, edited by Team Journey Planet.
Nerds of a Feather Flock Together, edited by the G, Vance Controller, and Joe Sherry.
Rocket Stack Rank, edited by Greg Hollander and Eric Wong.
SF Blue Stocking, edited by Bridget McKinney. And the Best Fanzine Hugo goes to... There's our envelope.
File 770, edited by Mike Glyer.
You've probably all figured out that I'm not Mike Glyer. I told him I was just in this for the parties. This part was not supposed to happen. First, Mike would like to thank all of you, and he would like you to know that he's okay, and that he thanks you for all of the good wishes that you've been sending to him today. Secondly, Mike would like to thank the Hugo nominators and voters who've chosen to recognize File 770 at the Hugos over the years. Mike says that he is not unhappy to accept the Hugos, but that he also wants to thank those who are doing so much to help create the content for which he is the one getting credit, especially those who've contributed significantly to File 770 in 2017, including John King Tarpinian, Martin Wooster, Mike Kennedy, Kat Eldridge, Chip Hitchcock, Hampus Eckerman, Carl Slaughter, Andrew Porter, John Hertz, Chris Barkley, and JJ. Mike would also like to tell Juliet Wade how much he admires the courage that she demonstrated in 2015. And I would like to thank Heather Rose Jones for making it possible for me to bring you Mike's thoughts tonight, because I tried to kill myself coming out of the ER this afternoon. Mike was very sorry not to be able to be here tonight, but he wants you to know that he has loved every single chance he's had that he's been given to participate in the Hugo Awards over the years. As Phil Folio said, it's very hard to win a Hugo, but it's even harder to stop. But Mike is now recusing himself and File 770 from both the Fanzine and Fanwriter categories for the rest of eternity. With grateful thanks for all of the recognition that you've given him through the years. The best appreciation that you can give Mike now, going forward, is to read File 770 and to participate in the rich, thriving fan community his blog has become. Thank you. He thinks he's getting this award.
So just when I say, is there enough of me, they said there was, and then here we are. So let's just keep this going. Yeah, they didn't move the paper. Okay. That would have been unfortunate. All right, here we go. Let's move this back over here. We're gonna have to get that stuff straight. All right. To present the final award in the fan categories is the recipient of this year's Big Heart Award. Stepping in for Mike Glyer tonight is Sue Francis.
This year we were unable to present the Big Heart Award at the Hugo ceremony, so it was done at opening ceremonies. But as you've heard, Mike Glyer was the winner this year, and so we were very happy about that. So now, the Best Fan Cast is a non-professional audio or video periodical celebrating science fiction or fantasy in 2017. There's supposed to be a video? I guess there's not a video. Okay. The finalists are the Coode Street podcast, presented by Jonathan Strahan and Gary K. Wolfe. Ditch Diggers, presented by Mur Lafferty and Matt Wallace. Fangirl Happy Hour, presented by Ann Grillo and Renee Williams. Well, must be more. A Galactic Suburbia, presented by Alicia Krasnashia. I'm sorry about that, Krasnashian. Alexandra Pierce, Tansy Rayner, and Rayner Roberts, produced by Andrew Finch. Sword and Laser, presented by Veronica Belmont and Tom Merritt. Verity, presented by Deborah Stanish, Erica Ensign, Katrina Griffiths, L.M. Miles, Lynn M. Thomas, and Tansy Rayner Roberts. And the Best Fan Cast Hugo goes to I have to open it up. Ditch Diggers, presented by Mur Lafferty and Matt Wallace. Are they coming up? No one here? Oh, there she is. Okay.
This is so much better than the shampoo bottle I've practiced with at home. It's so much better, but it's a lot heavier. I honestly never thought I'd be handling anything heavier than a shampoo bottle, especially a shampoo bottle given for this little hobby I took up in 2004. I've done a lot of podcasts in the past 14 years, so when I got together with my friend Matt and started talking real facts about the business of writing, I knew we had something amazing. I'll keep it short because Matt talks a lot. It's obvious that Ditch Diggers would not exist without Matt, one of my best friends. Gail Carriger and Howard Taylor convinced me to take a random idea and run with it. Cameron Hurley and Chuck Wendig and all of our other guests have brought their war stories to the show and helped other authors. I couldn't do half of what I do without my family, Jim and Fiona. And thanks always to Alistair Stewart for being my electric monk and believing in things when I'm unable to. And thank you, of course, to our listeners who keep us going with support and questions. And I don't have to pretend with a shampoo bottle anymore.
Wow. I love being a writer, and I choose to believe it's an important thing that we do. Equally important, I think, is the need for business education and fair practice advocacy for writers in this industry. Thank you. And that's what we try to do with the podcast, Mer and I. We try to do that. I believe it's every individual's responsibility to leave a better and more inclusive industry than we found. And that's what we try to do with Ditch Diggers. It's a small thing, but it's important, I believe in it. So to be recognized for that is pretty cool. I want to thank Mer. She does all the heavy lifting. I want to thank my beautiful wife, Nikki, my mother, Barbara, my agent, Don One Song, and everybody who supports the podcast and supports what we try to do. Thank you very much.
Getting this straight now, huh? All right. And now introduce the in memoriam, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Silver.
Hello, I'm Stephen Silver. One of the most important things I do in fandom is compile a list of our members, of the members of our community who have moved on to the great convention beyond. Each year, we recognize and remember our friends and members of the science fiction and fantasy family who are no longer with us, but who are not and never will be forgotten. We ask that out of respect for all members of this list, their friends, and their families, that you hold any applause until the end of the presentation. Thank you. I'd like to mention one name which does not appear on the immemorial list. 51 years ago today, on August 19th, 1967, the world lost Hugo Gernsback, the man who named science fiction and for whom tonight's awards are named. We grieve for the missing, but the community goes on, and alongside the Hugos that are being presented tonight, we celebrate new writers. So here to present the John W. Campbell Award, I would like to introduce last year's recipient, my fellow Chicagoan, Ada Palmer.
Someday I will enter this podium not crying. First awarded in 1973, this award was named for John W. Campbell, the celebrated editor of Astounding and Analog, who introduced many beloved new authors to the field. This is not a Hugo Award, but is sponsored by Dell Magazines and administered by Worldcon. Spring Schoenhoff of Springtime Studios created the Campbell pin, and the tiara made by Amanda Downham was added in 2005-2006. This award is unusual for considering short fiction and novels together, providing a cross-section of innovation in the field and often offering a first personal welcome to new writers unfamiliar with the social world of fandom. I'm currently curating an exhibit on the history of censorship around the world, and one section of the exhibit keeps coming to mind as I consider the Campbell Award. Immediately after World War II, in Japan, authors and journalists were effectively forbidden to talk about the war due to censorship exercised both by the reformed Japanese government and the American occupation forces. This left a generation of kids desperate to understand the events which had shattered their world and families, but with no one willing to have that conversation and no books to turn to. Enter Osamu Tezuka, whose 1952 Astro Boy bypassed censors who saw it merely as a kid's science fiction story, while it depicted a civil rights movement for robot AIs, including anti-robot hate crimes, hate-motivated international wars, nuclear bombs, and the rise of the robot-hating dictator Hitlini. Censors thought it was fine because it was science fiction. This science fiction became a tool a generation used to understand the roots of World War II and how to work toward a more peaceful and more cooperative future. But what makes this relevant to the Campbell Award is the next step. Many autobiographies of those who were kids in Japan in the 1950s describe reading and rereading Tezuka's early science fiction until the cheap paperbacks fell apart. But by the later 1960s, these same young readers became young authors, like Yoshihiro Tatsumi, Keiji Nakazawa, and their peers. They in turn led a movement to push the envelope of what could be depicted in popular genre fiction in Japan, writing more serious genre fiction. Think of Dangerous Visions here. These new voices didn't just contribute their works, they changed speculative fiction to eventually let Tezuka and other authors that they had looked up to write new works too, finally depicting the war directly and producing some of the best works of their careers, including Tezuka's Buddhist science fiction masterpiece, Phoenix. These authors I'm discussing are all actually manga authors, comic book authors, but the difference between prose and comics doesn't matter here. Their world, like ours, was and is a self-conscious community of speculative fiction readers and writers dedicated to imagining different presents, pasts, and futures, and thereby advancing a conversation which injects imagination, hope, and caution into our real-world efforts to build the best future possible. It was in that spirit the John W. Campbell Award welcomes to our field not only today's new voices, but the ways that those new voices will change the field by stimulating new responses from everybody, from those like John Varley and George R.R. Martin, who were Campbell finalists more than 40 years ago, to next year's finalists. This year's finalists for the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer are Catherine Arden, Sarah Kuhn, Jeanette Ng, Veena Jimin Prasad, Rebecca Rowenhorse, and Rivers Solomon. And the winner is Rebecca Rowanhorse.
Thank you. Hey. Okay. Woo. Oh, do I get a tiara? Okay, I'll wear it. Thank you. Oh, man. If you guys saw my speech, it's like scribbles, like I'm not prepared. Okay. I want to start by acknowledging that we are gathered here on the traditional lands of the Tamien Ohlone people, and we thank them for their hospitality. So listen, y'all, a Black and Indigenous woman just won the Campbell Award. So I have some people to thank. I want to thank Sarah Megabo, who saw my potential. I want to thank Joe Monty, who's nominated tonight as well, who believed in my ability. I want to thank Book Twitter and the science fiction and fantasy community who welcomed me in. I have to thank my husband, Michael Roanhorse, who's tolerated my late night ranting about people and places that only exist in my mind. I want to give a shout out to my sisters in crime, Kaia and Arette, my mother, the English teacher who encouraged me always to read. People always ask me when I started reading and writing science fiction and fantasy. And the truth is, there has never been a time when I was not immersed in imaginary worlds. They have been my refuge and my salvation, and they continue to be my refuge and my salvation. I took the long way to professional writing, but now that I'm here, the water is fine, the people are kind, and I intend to stay. So, I may be the first Black and Indigenous woman to win the Campbell, but I will not be the last. Thank you. Oh, and yay! Where do I go?
Is this your program?
Thank you.
Please welcome back your MC, John Picasso.
Ooh, gotta do a little bit of housekeeping here. Look at this. Good Lord. Can have a little Oscar moment here. All right. Not that one. All right. You ready? Let's get it going. The Best Semi-Prozine is a publication that pays its contributors and or staff, or was generally available for paid purchase. Finalists are Beneath Ceaseless Skies, edited and published by Scott H. Andrews. The Book Smugglers, edited by Anna Grillo and Thea James. Escape Pod, edited by Mur Lafferty, S. B. Divya, Norm Sherman, and Benjamin C. Kinney. Strange Horizons, edited by Kate Dollarhide, Gautam Bhatia, A.G. Odasso, Lila Garrett, Heather McDougall, Chiro Fayenza, Thalia Day, Vanessa Rose Finn, and the Strange Horizons staff. Uncanny Magazine, edited by Lynn M. Thomas and Michael Damian Thomas, Michi Trota, Erica Ensign, Julia Rios, and Stephen Shapansky. And finally, Fireside Magazine, edited by Brian White and Julia Rios. Managing editor, Elsa Hunason Henry. Special feature editor, Mickey Kendall. Publisher, art director, Pablo Defendini. The Hugo for Best Semi-Prosing goes to Uncanny Magazine. Edited by Lynn M. Thomas, Michael Damian Thomas, Michi Trota, and Julia Rios. Podcast produced by Erica Ensign and Stephen Shapansky.
Okay. Hi. Thank you. Oh, God. Uncanny is the work of many hands, and in addition to thanking all of the staff who are standing here on stage, we want to thank our former poetry editor, Mimi Mondal, our former interviewer, Shanna Dubois, our podcast reader, Stephanie Malia Morris, our current editorial intern, Chimeda Mugebo, our interviewer, Carolyn M. Yoakum, all of our submission readers, every Uncanny contributor, and every single member of the Space Unicorn Ranger Corps who have supported us. Shine on, Space Unicorns.
I grew up in a house of books. My parents' basement was lined with shelves, and the most important books were those that had the Hugo Award symbol on the cover. And the most important books were the ones that were the collections of Hugo nominees and Hugo winners. And when I was in high school, my best friend and I made a list of goals. You know, the kind of thing like, go skydiving, learn to ride a horse, that sort of thing. One of the things I put on that list was win an Oscar. It was not win a Hugo Award, not because I didn't want to win one, but because I thought I would never have the talent, the ambition, the luck to win such a prestigious award. But I thought, sure, an Academy Award, maybe that would be a thing that would happen. And yeah, I never learned to skydive. I never learned to ride a horse. Obviously, I haven't won an Oscar, and guess what? I don't care because this is better than all three of those put together. So thank you to everybody.
Oh my God. It is such an honor to be up here for a third time. Thank you so much to the science fiction and fantasy community, our supporters, the Space Unicorn Ranger Corps, but I particularly want to say thank you to all of the other semi-pro-zines, all the other publications, because this is such a freaking phenomenal category to be in with all of these amazing colleagues. All of you are doing amazing work, and it is just an honor to be considered among you. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. You keep pushing us to be the best, and I think that's what we can ask of all of each other.
Thank you all so much. And I also want to second thanking every other magazine in the semi-pro category, because all of you are what makes our community strong and whole, and I love the work you're doing. I also really want to thank my queer and people of color and Latinx communities, and John Picasso and the Mexicanix Initiative recipients. This has been an amazing Worldcon. We had Academy Award-winning movie creators here. We had amazing artists and authors, and all of them were brought by John, who is a fantastic human as well as an amazing artist. So thank you to everyone, and especially to also my partner Moss, who cannot be here tonight.
Thank you to Lynn and Michael for bringing us on all those years ago. Erica and myself, we do the podcast. Thanks to Warren and Chris of Radio Free Scarborough. We started a podcast 12 years ago, and I would have nothing in my life, including this and all these people, without that podcast. And thanks to all of you. This is a wonderful community. I think we're all doing great work. We're all putting great work out into the world. We're learning to be kind. We're learning to never be cruel or cowardly. And we are here to give voice to those who deserve it. So thank you.
Next category. There's a litter box over here of envelopes, y'all. We've got to clean this up. Housekeeping has become the theme of the night here, I guess. All right, let's get it going. Best related work celebrates nonfiction endeavors associated with science fiction, fantasy, or fandom appearing for the first time in original or modified form during 2017. Finalists for best related work are Crash Override, How Gamergate Nearly Destroyed My Life, and How We Can Win the Fight Against Online Hate by Zoe Quinn, Public Affairs. Ian M. Banks, Modern Masters of Science Fiction by Paul Kincaid, University of Illinois Press. A Lit Fuse, The Provocative Life of Harlan Ellison by Nat Segaloff, Nesfa Press. Luminescent Threads, Connections to Octavia E. Butler, edited by Alexander Pierce and Mimi Mondal. 12th Planet Press. No Time to Spare, Thinking About What Matters by Ursula K. Le Guin. Houghton, Mifflin, Harcourt. Sleeping with Monsters, Readings and Reactions in Science Fiction and Fantasy by Liz Burke. Aqueduct Press. The Hugo for Best Related Work goes to No Time to Spare, Thinking About What Matters, Ursula K. Le Guin.
Accepting on behalf of Ursula Le Guin is Jennifer Brell.
Missed that one. All right. Anybody stepping up for this? Oh, here we go. There we go. All right. Oops, it's okay. You're okay. You're okay.
I'm so sorry. I just fell down. That's so silly. Anyway, I'm Jen Brell. It is bittersweet to accept this posthumous award on behalf of Ursula's family, who provided me with the following. Our profound thanks to the Worldcon for honoring Ursula with their 7th Hugo Award, which would have pleased her immensely. For as many decades, Ursula was joyfully experimental with form. Her discovery of the blog as essay was a gift to her as a writer late in her life. With this book, so intimate in its voice, she left us the gift of her inimitable, uncompromising, and compassionate self. Thank you so much.
Human beings, people, human beings. All right? Come on. We're in it together. All right? And now to present the Hugo Award for Best Professional Artist is a creator who has championed the works of artists such as Donato Giancola, John Jude Palancar, Gary Gianni, Michael Comark, and many more, across the span of his literary works as one of the world's most influential authors. Author of Song of Ice and Fire and executive producer of Game of Thrones. I give you George R. Martin.
You may wonder what I am doing presenting an art award. I do too. But thinking back, I do recall that in 1954, in Bayonne, New Jersey, in Mrs. Rogers' kindergarten class at the Mary Jane Donahue School, I won the art award. I drew a horse. Unfortunately, I was then led astray. However, I've always loved art, particularly science fiction fantasy art. I have it hanging all over my house, and we always hit the art show when we come here. Art has always been a part of this science fiction fantasy community and of the Hugo Awards since the very, very beginning. There is no greater honor in the community of science fiction fandom than to be guest of honor at a Worldcon. That, to my mind, is the greatest life achievement award that any of us can get in this field. And it's worth remembering that in 1939, at the very first Worldcon, the guest of honor was not a writer, was not an editor like John W. Campbell, or a writer like Heinlein, or Doc Smith, or even Hugo Gernsback, who was still alive. The guest of honor was an artist, Frank R. Pohl. And in 1953, in Philadelphia, when they gave the first Hugo Awards, there were only 7 of them then. It was a shorter evening. But 2 of those 7 were for art. There was an award for Best Cover Artist that was shared by Hannes Bach and Ed Emshwiller. And there was an award for Best Interior Illustration that went to Virgil Finlay. Amazing talents, both. The Hugo Awards, in 1953, the Hugo Awards were the only awards in science fiction and fantasy. Now we have dozens of them, more than I can count. Many of them claiming to be bigger, better, more prestigious, given by a bigger convention, given by people of more ardent political views. Claiming to be more prestigious. You know, from my mind, what determines the prestige of an award is who has gotten it before. Because we stand on the shoulders of giants, writers, fans, artists, both. And the person who receives the Best Professional Artist Award is joining an exclusive club that includes people like Virgil Finlay and Hannes Bach and Ed Emshwiller, and also Frank Kelly Frias, and also Michael Whalen, and also Julie Dillon, and also Bob Eggleton, and the list goes on and on. Amazing artists whose work has adorned many of the greatest works of our field, and who I think will be long remembered. So tonight's lucky winner will join that list. And the nominees this year are Galen Dara, Kathleen Jennings, Bastien Lecouf de Homme, Victor Nagai, some guy named John Piccaccio, and Sana Takeda. And the winner is Sana Takeda.
Accepting on behalf of Sana Takeda is Jessica Guggenheim.
Sana Takeda couldn't be here with us this evening, but thank you very much, and we'll make sure this gets to her soon.
It would have been really awkward if I was presenting that one. I'm going to tell you right now. Just wasn't going to happen. As much as I want to keep this thing rolling, that wasn't going to happen. All right, let's keep it going. Next category, Best Graphic Story. Tonight, we're honoring 6 finalists who create a science fiction or fantasy story told in graphic form, such as a comic book, graphic novel, or webcomic. Finalists for Best Graphic Story are Black Bolt, Volume 1, Hard Time, written by Saladin Ahmed, illustrated by Christian Ward, lettered by Clayton Cowles, Marvel. Bitch Planet, Volume 2, President Bitch, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick. You like that, don't you? Illustrated by Valentine DeLandro, and Taki Soma, colored by Kelly Fitzpatrick, lettered by Clayton Cowles. You can make me laugh. Image Comics. Monstrous, Volume 2, The Blood, written by Marjorie M. Liu, illustrated by Hugo Award winner Sana Takeda. Image Comics. My favorite thing is Monsters, written and illustrated by Emile Ferris, Fantagraphics. Paper Girls, Volume 3, written by Brian K. Vaughan, illustrated by Cliff Chang, colored by Matthew Wilson, lettered by Jared Fletcher, Image Comics. And finally, Saga, Volume 7, written by Brian K. Vaughan, illustrated by Fiona Staples, and there they are again, Image Comics. The Hugo for Best Graphic Story goes to, look out, Monstrous, Volume 2, The Blood. Written by Marjorie M. Liu, illustrated by Sana Takeda, Hugo Award winner.
Accepting on behalf of Monstrous is Deanna Scholander.
On behalf of the creators, thank you all so much. I will make sure that they get this amazing award. Thank you.
Next up, Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form. Short Form Hugo is given to a dramatized audio or video production of less than 90 minutes. And our finalists tonight for Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form are the Hugo for Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form is The Good Place, The Trolley Problem, written by Josh Siegel, Dylan Morgan, directed by Dean Holland.
Accepting on behalf of The Good Place, The Trolley Problem is Kevin Roche.
There he is.
One of the unique privileges of being the chair of a Worldcon is sometimes they ask you to help accept a Hugo. On behalf of the people who tell us stories that make us imagine, thank you.
Think you know what's coming next, don't you? Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form. This is the Hugo given to a dramatized audio or video production with a runtime of at least 90 minutes or more. So our finalists tonight for Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form are Our Hugo tonight for Best Dramatic Presentation Long Form goes to, get ready, Wonder Woman. Screenplay by Alan Heinberg.
Story by Zack Snyder and Alan Heinberg and Jason Fuchs, directed by the great Patty Jenkins.
Accepting on behalf of Wonder Woman is Jonathan Grace.
So who's accepting? It's coming out. You know, y'all, when I'm looking out here, all I see is like white and black, and it's just blank. So who's coming out? Take it. You got it. There you go.
I just want to tell Hollywood, you need to start showing up when you win these awards, all right?
All right, our next category tonight, Best Editor, short form, where we recognize persons who have edited at least 4 science fiction or fantasy anthologies, collections, or magazine issues with at least 1 published in 2017. Our finalists tonight are John Joseph Adams, Neil Clark, Lee Harris, Jonathan Strawn, Sheila Williams, and Lynn M. Thomas, Michael Damian Thomas. Our Hugo tonight for Best Editor, short form, goes to, come on back, Lynn M. Thomas and Michael Damian Thomas.
Oh my God. Sorry, I have to pull up the thing. I had closed it because I didn't think I needed it anymore.
We have time. They won't play us off.
Thank you. This has been an epic journey as editors. We have learned so much from our time at Mad Norwegian Press and Apex Magazine. Thank you, Catherine Valenti, for thinking that I'd make a good fiction editor. We literally would not be here without that initial opportunity. We have been blessed with help and cheerleading, especially from John Joseph Adams and Christy Yant. Thank you to all of our friends, our family, our colleagues, all of you, for your support of Uncanny, and for the notion that short fiction is not a zero-sum game. Thank you.
I guess I'll speak this time. I just want to thank the entire community of everyone. Worldcon, we've been coming to Worldcons for quite a while, and we love fandom. When we started this journey, Lynn started with a book she co-edited with Tara O'Shea called Chicks Dig Time Lords. And I was in the back as associate editor, and through time, Lynn and our careers grew together until we end up having this gestalt editing mind where we do everything together, and it's been a wonderful journey, and every step of it has always been about this community, the community of readers, creators, artists. This is just such a wonderful community that has always welcomed us and welcomed Caitlin, who was just on stage. Sorry, Kate, just once. And all I can say is just thank you, everybody. This has been a very hard year for a lot of people, so just keep shining on Space Unicorns and keep shining with love and art and kindness and creativity and community, and always resist that goddamn darkness. Thank you.
The Best Editor Long-Form Hugo recognizes persons who have edited at least 4 science fiction or fantasy novel-length books published in 2017. Our finalists tonight are Joe Monti, Sheila E. Gilbert, Diana M. Foe, Fevi Balai, Miriam Weinberg, and Nava Wolf. And our Hugo tonight for Best Editor Longform goes to Sheila E. Gilbert.
So editors editorialize, so this will take a little while. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for this wonderful Hugo. The first year I was nominated, the Hugo base was created by Vincent Villafranca. I was so sad not to win that year's Hugo. 2 years ago, I finally did win. That year, the base was designed by Sarah Felix. It occupies a prominent place in my office. This year, the base was created by Vincent and Sarah, and being able to take home the Hugo is incredible. It seems like coming full circle. Winning it when I'm in the company of such a talented group of editors makes it just that much more meaningful. Everything I said in 2016 remains true, except that Daw and I are both 2 years older. But good things bear repeating. So, Betsy, business partner for 34 years and friends for 57. Together, we are Daw. And look, Daw has another Hugo. To Peter, Josh, Katie, Lindsay, Leah, Joel, George, Marcia, Paula, Mary Lou, and all our wonderful freelancers and artists, you are Daw. And look, we have another Hugo. To our colleagues at PRH, without you, we could never get our books out to the people who love to read them. So look, we all have another Hugo, but we're keeping it in the Daw offices. And of course, to all our incredible, talented authors who are such an important part of our Daw family. Look, we have another Hugo, and it's truly yours. It's your books that the readers voted for. Working with you on your creations, playing in your universes, and having you as my friends is the best part of my job. I do want to dedicate this to the memory of my husband, Mike, our Daw founders, Don and Elsie Walheim, and my own incredibly supportive parents, Meyer and Florine. I miss you and think of you all. I'd just like to add one more thing this year. We find ourselves living in a terrifying dystopian reality. If someone had submitted this as a novel to me, I would have probably turned it down as way too improbable. But if this had been a novel instead of 21st century America, I could at least edit it and improve the situation. The only way we can all do that now is to exercise our all-important right to vote. If you can vote for the Hugos, you can vote in the midterm elections. Vote to change the present, vote to save the future. Go out and vote and get everyone you know to do the same. Thank you all very much.
Next category tonight, Hugo Award for Best Series. We have 6 finalists who produced science fiction or fantasy series of at least 3 volumes and 240,000 words with a work published in 2017. Our finalists are The Books of the Roxira by Martha Wells, Nightshade. The Divine Cities by Robert Jackson Bennett, Broadway. Encrypted by Shannon Maguire, Daw. The Memoirs of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan, Tor US, Titan UK. The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, Tor US, Galance UK. World of the Five Gods by Lois McMaster Bujold, Harper Voyager, Spectrum Literary Agency. Our Hugo tonight for Best Series goes to World of the Five Gods by Lois McMaster Bujold.
Accepting on behalf of Lois McMaster Bujold is Catherine Asaro.
It's a great honor for me to be accepting for Lois. She's been a friend, a mentor, and a colleague for many years. She asked me to read this lovely statement, if I can make it big enough here. I would also like to say something that Lois would never say because she's a very modest, unassuming person, which is that if there was a Hugo for someone who cared about fandom and our community and about writers and fans alike, that would also go to Lois. She's one of the most gracious, wonderful people I've ever interacted with among our community. And here's her statement. She says, "You have surprised me. I've said elsewhere that I think the series is as distinctive an art form." I can't read this, it's too small. I've said before that I think the series is as distinctive an art form from the novel as the novel is from the short story. Series imply different structures and more structures, different techniques, different demands on and rewards for their readers than do single-volume works. I am pleased that this award recognizes something readers have long known, that series are as much worth congratulating as novels. Even though Catherine cannot read this small writing, even though from the practical side, the nominations are a bit like trying to sequence a giant squid, a camel, a cosmonaut, a whale, and an elephant all alive, and the same, but people will certainly stick by their favorite animals, whatever they may be, while the whole menagerie is still well worth the visit. All of the nominees are well worth the visit. Thank you very much from Lois McMaster Bujold.
All right. Next up, the best short story is awarded for a science fiction or fantasy story of less than 7,500 words. The finalists are Carnival 9 by Carolyn M. Yoakum, Beneath Ceaseless Skies, May 2017. Clearly Lettered in a Mostly Steady Hand by Fran Wild, Uncanny, September 2017. Fandom for Robots by Veena Giaman Prasad, Uncanny, September, October 2017. The Martian Obelisk by Linda Nagata, Tor.com, July 19th, 2017. Sun, Moon, Dust by Ursula Vernon, Uncanny, May, June 2017. Welcome to Your Authentic Indian Experience by Rebecca Roanhorse, Apex, August 2017. Our Hugo tonight for Best Short Story. Come on back again. Welcome to Your Authentic Indian Experience by Rebecca Roan horse.
Okay, whew, I just hurt my knee. Lucky for all of y'all, I just wrote one speech. So I don't have much to say. I just want to give a thank you to Jason Sizemore, the editor of Apex Magazine, and Amy Sturgis, who was the special guest editor for the issue on Indigenous Fantasists that this story appeared in. And somewhere, oh, well, I don't have it anymore. Okay. Wow, I was not expecting this. And I want to thank everyone who voted for this story. It's a strange little story about appropriation and the commodification of culture and Indigenous identity. And I'm still just really, really shocked that people like it. So kuda, which is thank you in Tewa, my mother's language, and thanks again.
Told you to keep this thing cruising. Trying. Next category is Best Novelette, awarded to a science fiction or fantasy story of between 7,500 and 17,500 words. Our finalists tonight are Children of Thorns, Children of Water, by Elliot de Borard, Uncanny, July 2017. Extracurricular Activities by Yoon Ha Lee, Tor.com, February 15th, 2017. The Secret Life of Bots by Suzanne Palmer, Clarkesworld, September 2017. A Series of Stakes by Veena Jiaman Prasad, Clarkesworld, January 2017. Small Changes Over Long Periods of Time by K.M. Spera, Uncanny, May, June 2017. Wind Will Rove by Sarah Pinsker, Asimov's, September, October 2017. Our Hugo tonight for Best Novelette goes to The Secret Life of Bots by Suzanne Palmer.
Not made of soap. Sorry. As you can see, I brought my speech. You have to bear with me here. This is terrifying. So this is not a place that I ever expected to be, which is wonderful, but also really scary. When I found out that I'd been nominated, and after I got done with all the wild Muppet flailing, I started having anxiety dreams about this possible, impossible moment. There are very many different variations, but the most recurring dream is one where I'm standing right here, just like I am now, and I'm thanking everyone, and I'm nervous, just like I am now, and then I trip and fall off the stage into the audience, where I accidentally bludgeon and or impale some venerable luminary of the field with my Hugo statue. Poor Harry Stubbs got it like 3 times, which is terrible because he was a really nice guy and I still miss him at conventions. Anyway, so I thought it would be maybe a bit of an exorcism if I told you all the story and then sort of lurched forward like I was really going to fall. And everyone would have a good nervous laugh and later talk about how maybe that wasn't very funny. Then Sheila Williams told me that it had actually happened to her once where somebody tripped and stabbed her in the leg with their Hugo rocket. So that kind of killed that idea. You're all welcome. But really, there is no way to adequately prepare for a moment like this, and there's no way to express my gratitude for the honor that this is, except to say that it is 1,000-fold outdone by the generosity, talent, and kinship of this community. As a reader, so many of you have given me a lifetime of friendship, adventure, hope, and wonder. From the very first science fiction and fantasy stories I read when I was in elementary school, to my formative years working my way backwards alphabetically through the stacks at the UMass Science Fiction Society, to the camaraderie and friendship and unwavering support of my peers from Viable Paradise and Absolute Right, all the way to the amazing work of my fellow nominees that I've had the pleasure to read and envy just over this past year. Nor can I ever say enough for the kindness and the patience of editors such as Sheila, Trevor, Neil, and Andy Cox, and my agent Joshua, who have been invaluable and patient guides on this weird path. This community, despite its differences, is a fabulous group of people to have fallen in with, if not physically fallen upon. Thank you all for this and for everything. I love you all.
Next category is Best Novella, awarded to a science fiction or fantasy story between 17,500 and 40,000 words. Our finalists tonight are Binti, Home by Nidhi Okorafor, Tor.com Publishing. The Black Tides of Heaven by J.Y. Yang, Tor.com Publishing. Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna McGuire, Tor.com Publishing. River of Teeth by Sarah Gailey, Tor.com Publishing. And then there were N1 by Sarah Pinsker, Uncanny, March, April 2017. All Systems Red by Martha Wells, Tor.com Publishing. Our winner tonight for Best Novella, All Systems Red, Martha Wells. Where's she at? She's coming, she's coming, she's coming. It's worth it. Come on, come on, come on. Give it up for her. She'll take her time, she'll get here.
It's very heavy. Sorry, I had two speeches and I wanted to make sure I didn't bring the wrong one up. Okay, I've been a professional writer for 25 years, and I'm 54 years old. At this point, I really didn't expect to be standing on the stage with a Hugo. This is an incredible honor for me, especially considering the other amazing novellas in this category. The reaction to Murderbot has been unexpected, completely unexpected, and I'm so grateful to the readers who felt a connection and sympathy with Murderbot, whether that connection was anxiety, depression, autism, or other reasons. I feel incredibly grateful that I could write a story that made you feel seen. So this Hugo is for all the readers who made this happen for me and for Murderbot, but I'm going to keep it at my house. I'd like to thank my agent, Jennifer Jackson, without whom my career would have ended back in 2010, long before Murderbot existed. I'd also like to thank Michael Curry and my editor, Lee Harris, along with Irene Gallo and everyone else at Tor.com, and Kevin R. Free, who narrates the audiobook editions, and my excellent cover artist, Jamie Jones. And thanks and love to my husband, Troyce Wilson, for his support through a lot of ups and downs. Thank you.
All right. This next category represents one of the most important moments this ceremony will have granted itself in many years. The inaugural World Science Fiction Society Award for Best Young Adult Book. This is our opportunity to embrace a new generation of literary fans to become a part of our community and our celebrations. From its inception, Worldcon has been a community of dreamers poised toward visions of the future. We hope to reclaim that brand by showing the respect that these readers and creators deserve. Tonight, we honor them with not one, but two acknowledgments of their achievements, commemorating this inaugural occasion. ASFA President Sarah Felix has crafted a singular object to be given to tonight's winner, along with a plaque designed by the World Science Fiction Society. And now, to present the World Science Fiction Society Award for Best Young Adult Novel is the creator, star, writer, and producer of the groundbreaking web series, The Guild. She recently raised over $200,000 in 12 hours, look out, to benefit Raíces as she stood in defiance of innocent children being ripped from their parents by a corrupt administration. She is a gamer, actress, author. I give you the one and only Miss Felicia Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I have met a lot of very fancy actors in my time who a lot of people would fan out over, and I usually am like, meh, they're pretty. But where my fandom really flies is when I meet an author who's invented a world I love. My first YouTube video I ever uploaded was me having a heart attack meeting Jacqueline Carey, and she's amazing. And just outside, I grabbed N.K. Jemisin by the shoulders, and I was like, "You're a goddess sent from above." I'm sorry, that was really creepy. This is such a beautiful award ceremony, not only because the Hugo really, to me, my whole life has meant you're going to find something amazing in this book, but it really is an opportunity and a ceremony that puts fandom and creation on the same level, and I think that's really amazing. It really shows me that, it reminds me that creativity is not about ourselves, it's about the way we use it to affect other people. I'm particularly honored to be here to present this award for young adult fiction. Young adulthood is such an important time in our lives. When I was a young adult, that's when I found my love of imaginary worlds and science fiction and fantasy, Dragon Riders of Pern and, Wrinkle in Time, the gore novels that my mom accidentally bought me. She thought they were like Lady Conan books. They are not Lady Conan books. Anyway, this is an amazing category that celebrates and invites new people into this genre of all ages, and I'm so honored to be here to give the award. No, that's not it. The finalists are Akata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor, Viking. The Art of Starving by Sam J. Miller, Harper Teen. The Book of Dust by La Belle Savage by Philip Pullman, Knopf. In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan, Big Mouth House. A Skinful of Shadows by Frances Harding, Macmillan UK, Harry N. Abrams US. Summer in Orcus by T. Kingfisher, Ursula Vernon, illustrated by Lauren Henderson, Sofa Wolf Press. And, oh, that's it. Sorry. And the award for Best Young Adult Book goes to Akata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor.
Accepting on behalf of Nnedi Okorafor is Betsy Walheim.
Well, Nnedi wrote me a speech, and she says, "Wow, this is fantastic. I wish I could be here in person to accept this award. I'd smirk knowingly because a book full of juju and Nigerian witchcraft just won the award with no name yet." This is so cool. I am truly honored. First and foremost, a gracious thanks to the universe for bringing this novel together in its own time, in this case, 6 years. Thank you to my former Penguin editor, Sharon November, for helping me strengthen the continuation of Sunny's story. Thanks to my current editor, Regina Hayes, for jumping in and making this novel really shine. Thanks to my Nigerian editor Bibi Bakara Yusuf, for helping me smooth away so many of the Americanisms I couldn't help putting in this novel. Thanks to my agent Don Moss, thanks to illustrator Greg Ruth for his beautiful portrayal of Sunny on the book cover. First spider on any of my book covers, and probably not the last. And thanks to my family, the masquerades dance and the ancestors smile, and these in themselves make it all worthwhile.
How many of you have been looking at your watches? You seeing how we're doing this? All right, you ready? The big one. The best novel is awarded to a science fiction or fantasy story of 40,000 words or more. Tonight, our finalists for the 2018 Hugo Award for Best Novel are Provenance by Anne Leckie, Orbit. The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi, Tor. New York, 2140 by Kim Stanley Robinson, Orbit. The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, Orbit. Raven Stratagem by Yoon Ha Lee, Solaris. And Six Wakes by Mur Lafferty, Orbit. And our final Hugo tonight for Best Novel. Here she is, The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin.
Okay, so I had started developing this whole superstition where I only win awards if I don't show up. My friends are texting me so I can't read my speech. Stop! All right. Okay. Hi. All right, so let me get to the speech. This has been a hard year, hasn't it? A hard few years, a hard century. For some of us, things have always been hard, and I wrote the Broken Earth Trilogy to speak to that struggle and what it takes to live, let alone thrive, in a world that seems determined to break you. A world of people who constantly question your competence, your relevance, your very existence. I get a lot of questions about where the themes of the Broken Earth trilogy come from. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm drawing on the human history of structural oppression, as well as my feelings about this moment in American history. What may be less obvious, though, is how much of the story derives from my feelings about science fiction and fantasy. Then again, science fiction and fantasy are microcosms of the wider world, in no way rarefied from the world's pettiness or prejudice. But another thing that I tried to touch on with the Broken Earth trilogy is that life in a hard world is never just the struggle. Life is family, blood, and found. Life is those allies who prove themselves worthy by actions and not just talk. Life means celebrating every victory, no matter how small. So as I stand here before you, beneath these lights, I want you to remember that 2018 is also a good year. This is a year in which records have been set. A year in which even the most privileged blinded of us have been forced to acknowledge that the world is broken and needs fixing. And that is a good thing. Stop texting me. And that is a good thing. Because acknowledging the problem is the first step towards fixing it. I look to science fiction and fantasy as the aspirational drive of the zeitgeist. We creators are the engineers of possibility. And as this genre finally, however grudgingly, acknowledges that the dreams of the marginalized matter and that all of us have a future, so will go the world. Soon, I hope. Very soon. And yes, there will be naysayers. I know that I am here on this stage accepting this award for pretty much the same reason as every previous Best Novel winner, because I work my ass off. I have poured my pain onto paper when I could not afford therapy. I have studied works of literature that range widely and dig deeply to learn what I could and refine my voice. I have written 1,000,000 words of crap and probably 1,000,000 more of meh. And beyond that, I have smiled and nodded while well-meaning magazine editors advised me to tone down my allegories and my anger. I didn't. I have gritted my teeth while an established professional writer went on a 10-minute tirade at me, basically as a proxy for all black people, for mentioning underrepresentation in the sciences. I've kept writing even though my first novel, The Killing Moon, was initially rejected on the assumption that only black people would ever possibly want to read the work of a black writer. I have raised my voice to talk back over fellow panelists who tried to talk over me about my own damn life. I have fought myself and the little voice inside me that constantly, still, whispers that I should just keep my head down and shut up and let the real writers talk. But this is the year in which I get to smile at all of those naysayers, every single mediocre, insecure wannabe who fixes their mouth to suggest that I do not belong on this stage, that people like me cannot possibly have earned such an honor, and that when they win, it's meritocracy, but when we win, it's identity politics. I get to smile at those people and lift a massive, shining, rocket-shaped finger in their direction. Oh shit, I'm almost done. So, how many of y'all saw Black Panther? All right, okay. Probably my favorite part of it is actually Kendrick Lamar's theme song, All the Stars. The chorus of it is, "This may be the night that my dreams might let me know all the stars are closer." Let 2018 be the year that the stars came closer for all of us. The stars are ours. Thank you.
Check your watches. Check your phones. You see that time? You see that time? All right, so that's the show. And I want to thank Jessica Guggenheim, Randall Shepard for being the best co-directors ever. Incredible crew, the tech who had to kind of zig as I zig and zag as I zag. Thank you, all of you. Winners and presenters, we're gonna need you to stay for photos. A lot of them, believe me. And guess what? This does conclude our Hugo Awards ceremony. So thank you all. Let's see you next year in Dublin. And I would say it's time for recess. Let's go hit the drinks. Good night. Love you.